Hi there, Larry Johansson here, author, speaker, seminar leader, parent, and mentor whose mission is to engage, encourage, educate, and empower organizations and individuals, especially young people, to embrace excellence and become achievers with character. Now, today I have a question for you. If you live in Canada and you're a parent, teacher, or mentor whose son or daughter, student, or protege is Black, is attending high school, and you were to offer them advice on launching a successful career, what would you tell them? Would your advice differ significantly from the general advice you would offer to anyone, regardless of their ethnicity? I've chosen to address this issue because recently I was invited along with three other Black professionals to speak to a group of Black high school students at their Professional Day seminar as part of the school's Black History Month. We were asked to share our journey with them, our successes and challenges working in corporate Canada, and how we dealt with racism. The other speakers were a former vice president who launched her own successful event planning company, a human resources recruiter of one of Canada's big banks, and a vice president of finance of another Canadian company. After the event was over, I did my customary review, and I realized that none of us addressed the issue of racism in the workplace directly, and I wondered to myself, why? From my own experience, this is a very difficult issue to address because, in many cases, it is covert and consists of what I call microaggressions. Now, microaggressions are expressed in body language, tone, lack of cooperation, a certain formality in behavior, even when you try to be lighthearted. Absent is that easy camaraderie between colleagues who like each other and dispense with formalities, bantering with each other in a spirit of goodwill, generosity, and fun. Racism, especially in the workplace, is like a ghostly haunting. You sense something in the air and in the office, and it is making you uncomfortable, but you can't quite pin it down. If, for instance, you said a ghost is in the room, your colleagues are likely to look at you as if you are nuts and then confirm among themselves that you're paranoid and crazy and use that as further justification to shut you out. Racism is just like that. The problem is that they do know that there is a ghost in the room, but they're comfortable with it because it's not haunting them, and they do know that they have something to do with its presence. I once walked into a room where my colleagues were hanging out, and as soon as I stepped in, the conversation stopped, and the room was filled with an embarrassed and uneasy silence, and people quickly broke for the door. My spidey sense told me that something was wrong by the uneasiness I felt in my body, but I was reluctant to say anything because I was new on the job, and it probably would be a career-limiting move to accuse a colleague or an organization of racism. So I did what most of us do in this situation, hobble along like someone with a pebble in his or her shoe. Uncomfortable, but you grin and bear it. The woman on the panel, who was the vice president turned entrepreneur, said there were two strikes against her. She was Black and a woman, and she sensed that her colleagues, who were all white males, didn't think that she belonged at that level in the organization. How did she handle that issue? She said she doubled down on being excellent, and all of us concurred with her and emphasized to the students that one of the antidotes to racism is really committing themselves to excellence. I noted that one of the things I did was to keep a diary of my accomplishments on the job, the date, the issue, how I handled it, and the outcome. The benefit of this is that at the end of the year, when your manager and you have a conversation evaluating your performance, which either sets you up for a promotion, a raise, or drops you in the bump on the log category, where the next step is to fire you, you can refer to your quote-unquote achievement log, as I called my work diary. The other advantage of this strategy is to remind your boss of your accomplishments if he or she is inclined to forget them. I also talked about cultivating the achiever's mindset, which I defined as the indomitable will to succeed in spite of any obstacles including racism. The achiever's mindset gives one the capacity to use challenging experiences as a whetstone against which one sharpens oneself and develops one's character and stays positive. We also talk to the students about finding their passion and pursuing it, building their self-confidence and self-esteem, knowing how to position, present, and market themselves, especially at interviews where they never get a second chance to make a first impression, and being ready to seize opportunity when it presented itself. And we talked about the importance of finding and cultivating mentors. In that hour and a half, we gave the students this long list of prescriptions about what to do. But I came away a little bit uneasy because as a mentor, I know how easy it is to tell people what to do, but how much more challenging it is to coach them through what you're telling them to do. It is fine to tell someone to pursue a career in something they're passionate about, to build self-confidence and self-esteem and cultivate the achiever's mindset. But how do they do that? That's the million-dollar question. And moreover, to mentor them through that how-to process would require more time and other resources than is available in a one-off invitation to speak at such an event. As a speaker, I know how valuable it is to leave people with a takeaway that gives them the how-to, the strategies, tools, and techniques they can apply immediately. Now, a couple of years ago, as my son was preparing to go off to university, and out of a desire to give him a competitive edge in the marketplace, I wrote a book for him that was short, easily readable, and would serve as a blueprint or template for not only getting him through university, but helping him to launch his career. I went to university believing, as I was told at the time, that my degrees would be the golden tickets to my success. Pretty soon on graduating, I realized that while a degree or degrees are door openers, launching and sustaining a successful career required other skills which sometimes take a lifetime to acquire. And let's not underestimate having a little bit of luck and being at the right place at the right time. And so I set out to give my son the rest of the story, as it were, in this book. The title of the book is, and here it is, Beyond Graduation, 3 Mission-Critical Strategies for Launching a Successful Career. In the book, I covered all of the issues raised in the panel discussion except the issue on dealing with racism in the workplace. Racism as a fact of life in Canadian society has been an ongoing topic of discussion in our household as part of my continuing effort to inoculate him against it in the same way we take a shot against the flu. That's a discussion that every Black or visible minority parent is obligated to have with their children. And in the next post, I'll probably talk about the process of raising children with high self-esteem and self-confidence. But back to the contents of the book. The strategies, tools, tips, and techniques, the how-to, are arranged under 3 overarching themes: mission, mindset, moves. Some of the topics covered are how to find a mission and purpose based on one's own gifts, talents, and values. And one of the things I really talk to young people about is to find their own gifts. Too often we try to kind of railroad them into a particular kind of way. We want them all to be lawyers and doctors and engineers and this and that, totally forgetting that they also have their own lives and their own talents and their own gifts and so on. And to really allow them to find those gifts and talents. How to identify one's gifts and talents, and again, to clarify one's values. Values are very important. How to create a mission statement that incorporates the 4 universal drivers that motivate everyone who aspires to achieve at a high level. How to develop the achiever's mindset and the elements that make up that mindset. How to develop positive self-esteem and the 6-step process to do so. how to market and position oneself in the marketplace, how to become a confident public speaker. Again, one of those critical skills that if you really want to gain confidence and visibility in one's career, it's something that you really need to learn to do. How to find a mentor and how to approach them so that they will take one on as a mentee. How to develop the entrepreneur's mindset and use it as a core principle to build one's career. And as importantly, how to make, manage, and multiply one's money in order to achieve a certain measure of financial freedom. Well, many of these lessons I learned at great personal cost in time, energy, and money. And as a parent, I wanted to save my son having to pay the price I paid to acquire these lessons. After all, that's what parents and mentors and elders are there for, to really help our sons and proteges benefit from our experience, to stand on our shoulders, as it were, in the same way that we stand on the shoulders of our own elders. So, if you're a parent, teacher, or mentor, and you think that these are important lessons which will give your son or daughter, student or protege, the competitive edge, or if as a student you are game to make a modest investment in yourself, then head over to www.beyondgraduation.info or www.amazon.ca and get a copy of Beyond Graduation for less than the price of a movie ticket and popcorn. Okay? So you take care. Thank you.